Zeus Caraval from ZK Research here, and I'm back inside the Worldwide Technology Hospitality Center at Dell Technology World. And I'm here with Bob Olwig. You are the EVP of Global Partners and Alliances. Bob, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, how long you've been in the role?
Yeah, so Bob Olwig, as you said, I lead our partner alliances. It's a group of about 50 people that manage all of our technology partnerships.
And you have a lot of technology partnerships.
We have a lot of technology partnerships. There's probably 100 or so that we really pay a lot of attention to. But yeah, we have thousands of partners that we work with.
Well, I've seen that board in your Advanced Technology Center, and the number of logos on there itself is pretty impressive.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, and that's not all of them. So
it's great having partnerships. So I mean, if you think about it, Worldwide really doesn't physically make anything, right? We resell the best technology from manufacturers that are out there.
Yeah. Now I know, like me, you've been around the tech industry a long time, and I was talking to somebody about this the other day that I don't remember a period of time, including my time as an IT pro and a CIO and a DeVar myself, where there was so much uncertainty for IT professionals, right? And I'm curious from your perspective, what are the things that are keeping your customers up most at night?
Yeah, that's interesting. For one, I would say the uncertainty comes from just the sheer amount of change that's happening in our industry.
And it's faster.
Yeah, and it's faster, right? The pace of change is incredible. You know, I think we talked about this the other day. This is my 40th year in IT. And I think one thing that remains the same is our customers want to modernize their infrastructure, right? They want to buy newer technology that they can deploy and make their employees more productive or satisfy their customers, grow their business. But there's been a lot of change, right? And I think in IT, change has been prevalent all the time, right?
Yeah.
And it's a good thing being in IT, right? When change is there, because customers are interested in what's new, and we can explain to them what's new and sell them new technologies. But I think the amount of change that's occurring right now, all at the same time, that's what's creating the uncertainty and the anxiety that our customers are having. Yeah. And then you multiply it by the conditions that are happening outside of IT, right? A war in Ukraine, high inflation, uncertainty, social injustice, uncertainty about the economy. So,
well, even the pandemic changed the way we work.
Oh my goodness,
yeah. And it's interesting when you talk about new technology, customers are embracing it. Some are, some aren't. Some fear it, and in fact, we were just talking to somebody down on the show floor that jokingly said he likes automation because he has more time for coffee. But a lot of customers don't because they think it's job threatening. But I do think skills, continual skills improvement is necessary. So as I mentioned, we are at Dell Tech World, and just curious, how have you found the show? What are some of the things that here that you might have liked?
Yeah, Dell Tech World is one of my favorite shows of the year. It really is. I think because it's Michael Dell that you hear from directly. I happen to be on Dell's partner advisory board, so I have the luxury of seeing Michael probably once or twice a year in addition to Dell Tech World. But it's always great to see him on stage. You know, he's such a pioneer, and he's still the leader of Dell Technologies, a company that has his name on it. So I pay a lot of attention to his keynote.
Did you catch the keynote?
I did catch it.
Was there anything in there that caught your eye, surprised you?
Well, the amazing thing is how quickly generative AI and AI in general kind of has captured the hearts and minds of a lot of people in the world, and Dell embraced it and adopted it right into the keynote and into their strategy. And then I heard more about generative AI from Jeff Clark the next day, where he talked about some of the packages and bundles that they've created with NVIDIA to handle large language models and for us to be able to provide our customers private versions of what ChatGPT is, in a public way.
Yeah, and it's interesting because he did talk a lot about AI, edge computing, distributed, computing, and
hybrid cloud.
Hybrid cloud, And the fascinating part for IT is when you think of even a decade ago, most of what we deployed was in silos. This application had all this infrastructure, but we don't do that anymore. Everything's shared, everything's distributed. And so from a modernization perspective, what are some of the significant challenges you see customers going through, and then how do they overcome those? Because it's not, like, this isn't plug and play stuff anymore, right?
No.
We can do more with our tech, but it's more complicated.
I think you mentioned something that's really important in that I think customers have always been trying to automate their infrastructure. I always say customers are always trying to modernize their infrastructure, and a good part of that is automating it, right, and getting things to work together. And I think we've always been aspiring to help customers connect the disparate systems that they have, right? Now, It was a lot more difficult 40 years ago when you had IBM mainframes and Dell VAXes, or Digital Equipment Corporation VAXes and PDP-11s, and they were very disparate.
Boy, those are some names from the past.
Yeah, that's how long I've been in the industry. But then, open technology and open systems came around, DECnet came around, TCP/IP, and things started to be able to be connected more easily. And I would say that we have opportunity to connect more disparate systems together through microservices and just open networking and so forth like never before. But we still have a lot of disparate systems, and some of them are older and legacy. There's still IBM mainframes around. They don't integrate all that well with the modern technologies that are out there. So I would say trying to modernize now includes, how do I deploy a hybrid cloud? How much do I deploy on-prem? How much do I deploy in a colo like an Equinix? Or how much do I deploy up in one of the hyperscalers? And I think that's where worldwide comes to bear.
Yeah, well, and that's one of the challenges, right? Like, it's not like old tech goes away. People have asked me the question, what do I see do I ever see a time when the world is all public cloud? And I'm like, maybe, but I'll be long dead by then. So, so it doesn't really matter. And
again, like I said, there's still IBM mainframes.
Yeah, and so that gives rise to the hybrid world in which you have to. Now, I do know that Dell is one of your great partners. In fact, congratulations! I believe you won Partner of the Year.
Yeah, thank you.
Intel's a great partner, and they're very tightly coupled with Dell. Yeah. Can you talk about the relationship you have with those two companies, what it means to you guys, and what does the award mean to you?
Yeah, well, the award is incredible, and we don't take for granted at all the very special partnership that we have with Dell and with Intel. And you think about it, Intel is kind of inside Dell, right? So we work very closely with Intel, but it's really usually selling products that Dell makes and incorporates the Intel technology into. So a very special partnership. We celebrated $1 billion worth of Intel product sales last year during their fiscal year, which is an incredible milestone. And then to have Partner of the Year award from Dell, which is kind of another acknowledgement of the strategic nature of our partnership and how relevant we are to each other, right? Last year we did over $2 billion of Dell product sales. So very relevant partners, very important. The other thing is that Dell is very unique in the industry in that they have the broadest portfolio of any OEM that's out there. When you take into account servers and storage and end user compute, the networking that they have, and then the services that they provide, they're unique in the industry. So that's why we love working with them.
And they really sell to everybody: telcos, enterprises, small business, home users.
There
the
isn't
hyperscalers
an industry that they don't touch, for sure.
They've really done a nice job with the business that way. In fact, I think Michael put up $100 billion, right?
$102 billion. That's incredible.
And so he's been the CEO from zero to $102 billion, which is a pretty impressive thing. Now, one of the things that I like that Michael Dell has been doing over the really the last 20 years or so is he's gotten much bigger into social issues. Dell's got a number of CSR initiatives. He talks a lot about sustainability, and I think a big driving force for Michael is making the world a better place. And so, how does WWT work with Dell in areas like that?
Yeah. Well, you have to admire Dell's leadership as it relates to ESG. I mean, I'm part of their advisory board. I'm very close to all the initiatives that they have going on.
And they have some aggressive goals.
They have some aggressive goals, right? I forget when their net zero goal is, but it's very soon, So, and they mean it. And I think they also want to help 1 billion people by 2030. And I think their purpose is to drive human progress, or to create technologies to drive human progress. And you mentioned Make a New World Happen, which happens to be one of our key purposes at Worldwide Technology. And if you think of the two, they're very similar, very related. So in that regard, love what Dell's doing. In fact, 2 events that I attended this week at Dell Tech World were around ESG.
Oh,
so
that's interesting.
It's very near and dear to my heart. I've actually been personally involved in a couple trips to Puerto Rico that included Intel and Dell Technology. We helped with the Ukrainian refugee crisis that occurred.
Yeah, can you go into detail? Boys Hope, Girls Hope, the stuff you're doing in Ukraine, Puerto Rico.
So again,
you've got some great stories there.
As you can imagine, we have a lot of different stories in terms of how Dell and Worldwide and Intel have partnered. Boys Hope, Girls Hope. Dell's been a generous sponsor of end user notebooks and tablets to help deploy the technology for the scholars, is what they're called in Boys Hope, Girls Hope. Very cool. It's a project that got deployed throughout the United States. The Ukrainian project was when the war broke out, there were 5.5 million people in Ukraine that were displaced.
Yes.
Many of them pouring over the borders into Romania and Poland and other places. And Worldwide is a charter member of the N50 project. And it's a new organization that wants to bring and eliminate the digital divide between the haves and the have-nots. They said it today, but N50 originally was the next 50% of the world's population needed to be connected to the internet. I think the number now is more like 3.5 billion people that are not connected to the internet. So the N50 project is about that digital divide and helping people get connected. And in the case of Ukraine, there were a lot of displaced refugees that did not have access to the internet or the comms that they were used to in a modern world that they were living in. So we created an architecture that included an ISO transportation container. We equipped it with Dell ruggedized notebooks, Cisco route and switch, had it deployed from the time we decided to do it. 6 weeks later, we had it deployed in Romania. And now there's 12 units deployed in Romania, Poland, and in the Ukraine itself.
Yeah, well, good for you guys. And I saw Jim Kavanaugh, your CEO, speak at the Global Citizen event last year as well. Mm-hmm. So mm-hmm. I do know you're very active with social causes, and it's been interesting as somebody who watches the tech industry more and more. I think citizens of the world are relying more on businesses actually to change the world more so than governments. And I think government only has so much reach. And if companies like yourself don't take a leadership position, that this stuff it just doesn't get done, right?
Yeah. I would say I think there's a special responsibility for the technology industry because so much of
that's going to create the change.
That's what creates the change, or that's what can accelerate the change that needs to happen. I mean, let's face it, the internet and access to the internet is all about technology. Yeah. Now, we would also argue it's not just about connecting people via the internet. You have to train them. They have to be digital literate, in terms of how to use it. They have to be shown the applications that they can have access to and so forth. So it's connectivity, but also adoption. And again, I think the technology industry can be a leader in making that happen.
All right. So to wrap up, let's go back to the Advanced Technology Center that I mentioned. I know that's something Worldwide is very proud of. So can you talk a little bit about it and the role it plays in helping your customers solve a lot of these big challenges?
Yeah. First of all, our customers, we talked earlier on, what's keeping them awake at night is making the right technology decisions. Yeah. These are expensive decisions.
And if you make the wrong one, it's hard to unwind.
It's hard to unwind. It doesn't look good to the board, things like that. But so making the right technology decision is super important. And that's ultimately what the ATC does. And we do it through, we can educate our customers through the labs that we have. We can train them on the technology. We provide them access to the innovation. Much of the equipment that we have in the ATC is brand new. It's like state of the art. Some of it's even before it's been even released. It's alpha and beta type code and equipment. So they have access to innovation. They have access to these labs that can de-risk by proving out that these technologies that they want to buy are really going to work together. In the old days, they'd buy it and kind of hope that they're going to work together, and they're going to hope that they work together in a production environment. That's not a good situation. Yeah. So by having them being able to test it in our Advanced Technology Center, it just allows them to sleep better at night.
Yeah, I've talked to companies, and I remember this even from my IT days. Often you'll deploy technology and you'll go through sometimes up to 6 months, maybe a year of tweaking and tuning to get the stuff to actually work well together. So if you can take that heavy lifting off customers, they can hit the ground running.
Yeah, and I would say there's a couple aspects to that. That first part of making the right technology decision, and then I would say faster, right? They can make the right technology decision, but it could take them years, right? But
you don't have years anymore.
They don't have years. The pace of change is occurring too quickly. So we help them make the right technology decisions faster. Then we also help them deploy it faster. And I think you're familiar with our global supply chain and our integration center.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the integration center.
Well, it's a 1-2 punch, right? It's like make the right decisions up front, and then when the customer says, I like that decision, now, Worldwide, can you go help me deploy it as quickly and as cost effectively around the world as possible?
So I toured the integration center, and I was blown away by how big it is. So just describe to me how big this building is,
Well, first of all,
what you do there.
Yeah, overall around, so we have integration centers not only here in St. Louis, but also in Mumbai, Singapore, and Amsterdam. But by far and away, the biggest campus and environment that we have is in St. Louis. It's actually in Edwardsville, Illinois. It's about 30 minutes from our corporate headquarters. We have 4 buildings there, and each one of them are about 1 million square feet or so. One of them can house 14 soccer fields. I'm going to say soccer fields now that we have an MLS team in St. Louis, but 14 soccer fields under roof. They're massive. And just the interior of it, 40-foot high, ceilings so that you can rack a lot of equipment there. We've got the integration centers that are at the heart of the building where we actually do the configurations and the racking and stacking and testing, asset number capture, serial number capture, and so forth.
And I believe I saw that you can roll out fully validated, tested, configured racks directly to customers.
Yeah, right? It's incredible. And this capability has been developed over the 33 years we've been in existence. So it's not like an overnight success. But that capability that you just mentioned there, it's very subtle, but we actually create our own custom cabinets, our crates, that the fully configured rack can be rolled into and secured, right? And oh, by the way, from a sustainability perspective, we take that crating back so that we can repurpose it and reuse it. But we also go a step further. Most OEMs do not warrant their equipment if it's been racked and shipped because of the vibrations and tipping and things like that. We work with the manufacturers to make sure that our configured racks are certified and warranted. Just one more value add that our global supply chain.
So de-risks for the customer, but they still have all the same value.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. All right, Bob. Well, thanks for the interview. Again, congratulations on winning Partner of the Year for Dell. On behalf of Bob Olwig, I'm Zias Caraval from ZK Region saying thanks for watching.